Good afternoon. This is a pen video. We're going to talk about pens. Today we're going to open up this pen case. We're going to open it up and see all kinds of pens, gel, rollerball, and the like, and talk about how they behave. Isn't that a nice case? Now, where did you get that again?
Ablation Pens in Portland, Oregon.
Very nice case. You can see that where it latches is just this little bulbous thing with these little kind of nubbles, and then it kind of closes nicely. The case is made out of stainless steel, and it was made in Japan, a country that I have heard of. So what made you pick this color?
Well, I would have picked an orange one if they had had it in stock, but they had the green one.
An orange like this?
It was a bright orange, more like...
We're like that. And it fits like a lot of pens, and then it has a nice resonant sound when you close it. It's useful as an instrument. You're welcome for that ASMR. What makes this pen so customizable? What makes this pen, what's wrong with this one? What is wrong with this one? What is somehow wrong with this one? Why is this one the best one ever? And how did this one get here? These are the questions we're gonna answer in today's pen video. So as a little backstory, I have always been into writing with ink on paper, but recently, my friend Isaac has gotten into it too. So I thought that I would have him share some of the discoveries he's made as regard pens lately. We can talk about the pen case, things that are in it, many of the gel pens and roller balls that are inside, some of the customizations that are possible, and some favorites. And then we can use drawings and writing to test them.
Ballpoint pens.
Yeah, I think that we do have many more ballpoints than we have roller balls. This that we're using for testing is the planted tree paper Muji spiral bound notebook. Its paper is slightly creamy and a little bit smooth. It's got a relatively low bleed nature. Like if you write on with something inky, wow, it's drinking it right up real quick, and then there's not really much bleed.
Itself.
Ah, okay,
not
so
through, which
more time for the viewers.
When Muji says that this is a low bleed paper, they are not talking about from front to back. They are talking about on the page itself. So there's no smear, even though there is some bleed through to the back side of the paper.
Understood. Thank you for correcting me there. By contrast, this is just your standard Mead, college-ruled notebook that you get from the grocery store. Oh boy. That's some bleed. There is some bleed detected. But it's not even that bad, really. By contrast, this is my Leuchtturm notebook. Oh my, whoa. Okay. This is all merely to illustrate some aspects of the paper that we're using as a backdrop for this pen video. And the paper that we're using to test these things on. Here are some pens that we'll talk about. What do we got here?
These are ballpoint pens. We've got gel pens and rollerball pens.
Which of these three classes of pens would you say is generally your pick?
I've been trending towards the thin inked ballpoint pens.
So those are like...
They're like the Jetstream. This has a Jetstream light touch refill in it that I love. These are big ones right now.
And let me just say, I have tried this Jetstream pen, and as someone who's often writing with these kinds of things, Bic round sticks, things like that, I need something like that. Mm-hmm. I love the way that works.
Another pen I've been loving is the gel pens, as the Uniball Sanyo DX.
Yeah.
0.5.
That thing looks really useful. Look at that Sanyo. See, that just works. That's just a straight ahead, that's just a straight shooter, that just works. This is the pen that Isaac carries at work. This is
It's true.
the one that, this is your locked and loaded. This is your,
It's
this
my
is
EDC pen.
your everyday carry. I will confess that having tried these two, when Isaac showed them to me earlier, I was very impressed, and I was like, I need one of those, one of each of those. I haven't gotten them yet because I expect Isaac to purchase them for me. Could you give me a tour of this gold pen that looks extremely special?
So this pen, this is a cross ballpoint pen that belonged to my grandfather when he worked for IBM. And I've had it sitting around and I couldn't find a refill for it, but I recently purchased on a lark a Uniball Jetstream Light Touch 0.7 refill, which fit perfectly into this pen.
Wow. And I wrote with it and liked it very much.
It's
because
very
it's a good refill. It's like a high quality refill. I want you, can you show me the cap there? Like that cool, like what is on the cap there?
IBM.
And like what is that text right above it?
That it says cross made in USA.
Wait, say that one more time.
This pen is a gold-plated pen.
22 karat gold plated.
Well, 20/2 carat.
Interesting.
One. I don't understand.
Everyone in the comments, please do sound off on your thoughts on what this pen is made of and how special it is, because it's clearly quite, not only is it sentimental, but it seems to incorporate gold in some way. It says 20/2 karat gold filled. We don't understand exactly what the terminology means, but maybe somebody else does. If you look this pen up, I think you'll find that something similar to it is rather valuable if you were to purchase it just, dead stock now.
I believe my grandfather received it as a gift for maybe 20 years of service at IBM or something along those lines.
That is, and now it's got new life. Why don't we just see how it writes? Yeah, this looks very smooth. And it's like very, this is just another, oh. Wow, you're darting. I like how when you dart and what have you put in this again? I know you just said, but.
That is Uniball Jetstream Light Touch 0.7.
So it's like this.
Well, this is just a Jetstream.
Okay.
Not the Jetstream Light Touch, so
Okay.
that we can compare.
What if you did it? What if you moved that really fast or something?
This is much more waxy,
Okay.
and then it still does pretty good.
Where did you acquire the light touch that you filled that with?
That was at a Japanese bookstore in Portland where I was visiting recently.
Very nice. I like the way when you moved it really fast, it created this really lovely, like, even... I mean, that's just like, this almost... I really like crisscrossing lines, so this design that you've drawn here is very pleasing to me. Is there anything else you'd like to single out about this ballpoint category?
Well, I've recently been getting into the Uniball power tanks, which I don't think there's anything extremely special about them, but they're very smooth, and you can write upside down and in more different types of conditions because of the pressurized ink, similar to in a space pen or Write in the Rain pen.
See, this is very interesting to me because I like, in a pinch, to put my piece of paper up against the wall. And I like to write against the wall, or sometimes when I'm lying in bed, I have my piece of paper up against my knees. And I find that a lot of the pens that I trusted when I was just writing, you know, top down, no longer perform. And so actually this would be very useful for me.
I think the PowerTank .07 would be a really good choice for you because you have that smaller handwriting. And it's a pretty fine tip. Even the line is pretty fine for a .7, I think.
I like the way it smiley faces. It kind of smiley faces in a nice kind of human way. Or maybe that's how I smiley face. But that's 4, 5 smiley, 6, 7 smiley faces that you can see. I've made .7 of them with the PowerTank. One last thing I'd like to call out while we're like looking at these ballpoints is that the labels on here and the look of it are very inviting. It makes me feel, I'm a fan of action sports, and it makes me feel like I'm about to go surfing or something.
And I do believe these labels may only come on the Japanese import version of the PowerTank, not because you can buy these in a multi-pack at like Staples, and I don't know if they come with the fun little Japanese writing on them, but
big fan of that personally. And let's open that thing up and see what she's got under the hood.
it's a big refill.
Wow. It's like it looks like a whole pen. It looks like it's about as dang near as big as
It's
this.
just as big. Yeah, you could just write with this.
I wonder if they do that by design or something, where you could just purchase those refills and have that be the pen that you use.
I mean, if you have a small hand, this would be great.
Can I try it with my kind of fine piano player hands here? My little piccolo player hands. Man. And then I do a little speech bubble, and then there's a little guy here saying, man, this sucks. That's an interesting concept because often the refills are useless without some sort of cage. However, if for some reason this were to fall into a fire and the case were to be melted away and all you had was what was inside, you would still be able to, you know, write your notes for that day, do your data entry with no problems, with few problems, especially if you're a fan of ballpoint pens. This is an interesting case where the filling, or the filler thing, the cartridge that is inside of that guy over there, had to be, it was modded. At first it was too long, you thought, and then you cut it down a little bit, and then it was too short, so you put in this little screw, which I think kind of gives it like a beautiful little touch, this shiny touch.
I was glad that was a solution I was able to work out for it, because I was a little concerned initially. I didn't know how I was gonna really make it fit.
It's like hidden jewelry in here, and it's does this create a pressurized ink scenario, making it more like something along the lines of this PowerTank here?
Well, it wouldn't, because
or is that just mere speculation?
I poked a hole in it because I was worried that not having the open end was gonna interfere with the ink flow, so I actually did make a small hole on the side here so that air can still enter the refill.
The things we do for pens. I have not tried the Zebra Blend. The Zebra Blend. I have not tried the Zebra Blend. What is the Zebra Blend?
Why don't you give this a reaction?
All right, let me see what I got here. So this is the Zebra Blend. I've never used this. I'm going to like a clean sheet here. I just want to give this a shot. So what should I do? What should I do with this pen? What is this good for?
I honestly haven't figured it out yet. It feels really nice. It's a nice feeling ballpoint pen, but the ink it's not all that remarkable.
Okay. All right, let's try this out. Call me Ishmael. Yeah, I like this. I could do an acrostic like this. Ishmael. You know, interior sentiment holds my interest almost for 11 little minutes. Yeah, this is good.
It reminds me of the classic zebra, that
Ooh.
one, which is too small for my hand, and it hurts my hand.
Really?
Yes.
So you've got a big handwriting.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's another thing that I think is interesting about this video, and I think that makes it like the best Leafy Concern video I've ever made, is that this is a little hand, little cramped guy, and then we've got a big hand, big stretch out handwriting person. See, that's the hand for the big stretch out. These are a little hand guide for the video. So this, oh yeah, this is familiar. Yeah.
I like the zebra pens, but they're not a glidey pen at all.
You kind of have to like take your time.
They're sticky almost.
They're sticky. Oh, yep. I know what you're talking about. This is something that might be good for writing like one of my dream diary kind of things, where I like to keep a nice kind of neat small hand. I like to keep it nice and small. I always kind of worry whenever I show a bit of a page of a dream diary. Someone could like pause it and look at it and be like, "What? That's a horrible, that's a horrible sentiment or something."
Sound off in the comments if you think Neil's dreams are of a horrible sentiment.
They are not, but they are, and this is what makes them so great to read. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Before we leave the ballpoint category, I'd like to talk about my two favorites. This is the round stick. I keep on talking about how I keep it in my right pocket, while in my left pocket, I keep my little pocket notebook here. All the text in here is going to be written with one of these round sticks. The reason for this is that I just like to keep it in the front pocket. Not only does this write wonderfully, and it's just sort of everyone knows it's very dependable. It just does everything you need for a quick note. Get back in there. And if I'm like taking something out of my right pocket and this happens to fall in the street, then I feel like I'm not losing all that much money, and I feel like this will survive on the sidewalk in the rain. Somebody who happens by will be able to pick it up and make use of it, even though it fell out of my pocket. So they have this kind of lightweight quality, this kind of disposable quality, which is essential to me. Their sibling, which I often talk about, is this Papermate Write Bros. I like the 1.0, even though, and you'll see my left-handed handwriting here. Gosh, it's better. It's just better. I like this better. It's just a little bigger. It's a little bigger and bulkier. I don't like to put it in my pocket so much. Does it come out at all? It doesn't?
No.
No, it's a one and done. It's a disposable pen. They want you to just kind of dispose of it when you're done. I do prefer it for writing, but there's something about the compactness of the round stick really gets my goat. I'll probably end up talking about this many more times over the coming weeks as I delve more into my paper and pens that I have on hand, but I thought I'd be remiss not to mention these two while we're talking about these ballpoints here. And with that, we move on to the middle category, these pens which are often called
gel.
We're going to talk about these too. Moving right along, gel. When I was coming to gel pens, the first thing that introduced me to it, of course, was one of these G2s, right? But then a good friend of mine introduced me to these the Muji gel pens, right? And she works with the .38, so I bought a case of the .38. Thought I'd move to .5. Ended up deciding against it. It's not really my speed. And then I'd like to compare that also to this kind of similar gel here. See, look, I write very small, and I do these like little dates that I put in little boxes at the start of each, for instance, diary entry, And this is the .38 Muji right here. And then we got the .5 Muji right there. And then we got, this is the, down below is this, what is this? What do you call this? Mitsubishi? What the hell? This Uniball Signo DX .5. So, like, anyone who writes tiny, and likes a little bit of feedback, I recommend these .38s, but there's something else I'd like to talk about, which is the slipperiness of a pen. So, Isaac, why is this so slippery?
Well, when I first heard about the Muji pen, I really wanted to get into it because I liked the idea. And I thought that I saw people writing nice with them. But when I try to use one, my hand is always
You see that?
slipping forward.
The hand
on
is
this
sliding down.
slippery matte plastic.
Whereas, compare that to this. I mean, see? Now, you never think about grips as stopping the hand in its downward motion. Like when you first make contact, right? You think of it as kind of like, well, I don't want the pen to fall out of my hand while I'm writing. So that just kind of slightly changes my conception of what a grip does.
It does. I mean, I do also think this is a juicier pen than the Muji's, which is it makes it better for me. But I can see how someone who would write very small like this, you can see how even this is the Signo DX, and this is the Muji 0.5. You can see this is a little bit thicker and probably a little harder to control. It's a little less scratchy feeling than the Muji 2, which can be a positive or a negative depending on what type of tactile feedback you...
Yeah, just briefly writing with it, I preferred it to the Muji 0.5. However, the 0.38 up here ends up being what I like to use. Why do some Pilot G2 pens, like, they turn dark orange there, you know? Is that like an old pen thing?
I think that's an aging of whatever is that to protect the ink?
Who knows? Nobody who watches this video knows. When you look at this category, Isaac, you know, what are your kind of initial thoughts for like your pick of the litter and any sort of salient pens that stick out to you?
Well, as far as the gel pens go, I do really like the this guy here a lot. I like this 1.0 Uniball Sanyo, but it's really thick.
Yeah, that ain't my speed. Although I do like the way it looks with your handwriting. It makes your the kind of a cartoonish nature.
Mm-hmm. It's almost like a marker.
Yeah, this is nice. This I could see a use for that. Let's say you're writing a note on a piece of paper for someone who's gonna come to your house and take care of your cat.
This would be great.
This would be great. They would really get the message. Feast your eyes on that test. And then, what have you got here? So
this is a pen neither of us like very much.
Yeah, isn't that something? Where's mine? Oh yeah, is that?
This is the Uniball one.
I had one.
This one or
this one here.
Oh yeah.
I didn't really think I cared for it very much, but now that I think it's just so faint. Look at this. It's just like so weak, but I kind of am liking that now. I came up with a use for a pen like this that's just a little weaker than you want to use, and that could be to write your name on something that you got, and you want it to be unobtrusive or something, to like label something in an unobtrusive way. Yeah, the clip is very nice.
The clip is the best part.
The clip is also found on this kind of deal, you know, and this is a little bit of a nicer thing, I think. This should have been in the gel category. So I'm putting it there now. To wrap up this bit about the ballpoints, I'd like to talk a bit about pen customization. Everyone, when they're in school, likes to take their pen apart, put different things inside it, and put pens together to make Frankenpens. They do this instead of doing anything useful. I say this because I was such a child. Yeah, like, it's just kind of a no-brainer. You take out the one half, and then you can, you know, mix it and match it with anything else. The visuals speak for themselves. What do you think? Which one makes the best combination? I'm undecided on whether I like that, although you can see how it might work with a different color. I think between those two, this is the one I prefer. But the best, like the one that's the switch up that works nicest for me is this one in the middle. You could do this and be the person at your school who has one of these Uniball pens that nobody else has. You know what I mean? Make yourself unique. Last but not least, we can talk about these wonderful rollerball pens. These are very exciting to me. They make a nice, vibrant mark. They write fluidly, and I think that they're generally a very exciting pen, though they're not what I use for my day-to-day purpose. An exciting find were these two these two here, this orange one and this red one. I don't remember acquiring either of these. It's a Uniball I, which looks like it's gonna draw somebody's blood here. It looks like a vial of blood here. It looks really amazing. This Vision Needle orange one. This one is for like the University of Tennessee fans among us. And you see these rollerball pens really have a wonderful, like vibrant ink. I find this really exciting. What kinds of things could you mark up this way and improve by using multiple rollerballs to make a wonderful kind of color? What do you have to say about these, Isaac?
I like rollerball pens. They were my dad's favorite kind of pen when I was growing up, and he really liked using a purple Uniball Vision Elite. This is a
purple.
Purple.
That is quite an ink color to choose.
I have a tamer choice here with the blue black ink in it, but it's very nice. It's a very thick, inky, smooth experience.
I like that quite a lot. Blue black. This could be like a cool discovery for somebody who only thinks about ink as being either black. Yeah, and then this one here, this Precise V5 RT joins my list of favorites, along with a list of favorites among Isaac's collection, with the Jetstream and the other one that I loved, which I can't remember now. It was one of these. I think it was one of these Signo things. The smaller one. Yeah, these are my top 3 of all of Isaac's pens that I have seen so far, with maybe some of the exception of this, just because it's so darn special. These are my top 3 picks: the Signo, the Jetstream, and this Precise V5 RT. And these are like obviously nicer, though I do not wish to throw any shade, than these pens I always use, the Papermate Riot Bros and the Round Stick. They're much better, but they also deliver just a really kind of like controlled writing experience for my purposes. So yeah, kudos to these 3 for being my top 3 pens. I just wrote out some things with my favorites. Not a lot of excitement here, just very respectable pens. The only one of these that's a little bit different is the Jetstream. But yeah, these are all gonna work well if you have a handwriting at all like mine.
Please.
Honorable mentions, this Bic Crystal thing sucks. It doesn't write very well. It's like all glompy and glommy, and it like makes all these glommy marks. Yeah, Isaac tries to write with it and says, it feels like a crayon. Was my impression too. We're not working with many felt tips today. However, like felt tips used to be my pen of choice. I used to write in kind of just notebooks that I think had a little bit of thicker paper. This is a Dream Diary where it had this, it's a knockoff moleskin, it's cut really bad, and it had a very thick paper. Felt tip didn't bleed through so much. I moved to these, because I like the shape, to these moleskins, and the bleed was more evident. So in recent Dream Diaries, I'm switching to like gel and these ballpoints occasionally. So these don't get much use, but I know people who swear by them. I know some people who only write with the lay pen. This is a very cool thing. It's like a permanent marker, as is. Yeah, this thing is crazy. This thing is really cool. Sakura Micro Perm, very, very fine and like a permanent marker. I guess this would be like if you wanted to sign a check. Mm-hmm. Somebody was telling me the other day, I think it was you, Isaac, about how some people say that you need to use a specific kind of pen for signing a check because other pens' inks can be like taken off of the check somehow.
You never know. The guy who was talking about that isn't the most trustworthy guy ever, and he was talking about it in relation to a pen that he was receiving financial kickbacks from being involved in the development of. So
very interesting.
It's hard to say that definitively.
Very hard to say definitively. Any final thoughts to share, Isaac, with regarding this collection of pens that you've brought to share with us today?
It's been fun to compare and contrast all of the different pens, and I'm still on my journey figuring out what my favorite daily use pen is. There's still some work to be done here, but we're getting closer and closer to figuring out what that one your buy for life and continue refilling it pen is, if there's even such a thing. So, yeah. I will continue to use this the lovely pen that Neil's writing with right now, the Signo DX 0.5. I like to use that at work and have it in my pocket because it's not going to click out and spill ink in your pocket. And it has a nice fine tip, but writes pretty smoothly.